chosen one. A family gathering erupted into chaos, and the fight that broke out had everything to do with you. Your name hit the room and old lies collided with the truth. This was not random drama. This was a long-running scheme collapsing under its weight, exposed the moment you refused to stay small. For years there's been someone watching you, studying you, a younger family member who considered themselves spiritually powerful, someone who looked at your life and decided interfering with it was their right. This person wasn't working alone. An older woman was teaching them, guiding them, showing them how to move in spaces most people don't even know exist. Together, these two were accessing things without permission. Your spiritual records, your energetic field, your destiny itself. They were trying to rewrite your story. Here's what they saw when they looked into what was coming for you. Money, real estate, inheritance with your name on it, a love connection so powerful it would change everything. Success that would put you in rooms they would never access, a life so abundant it would make their schemes look pathetic by comparison. And they panicked, because if you got what was destined for you, their game was over. If you connected with your true counterpart, their manipulation would lose all power. If you stepped into your full abundance, everyone would see how much they'd stolen from you. So they started building barriers, creating obstacles. They redirected what was yours into pockets that shouldn't have held it. But here's the detail that's about to blow this whole thing wide open. Every move they made left evidence. Every scheme they created left proof. Every theft they committed generated documentation they thought was hidden. But you can't steal from someone the universe is protecting without consequences catching up eventually. And at that family gathering, the bill came due. Someone attached chaos to your energy field, deliberately, spiritually, using methods most people dismiss as superstition. But you felt it. The way drama seemed to follow you, the way conflict erupted wherever you went, the way violence and fighting dominated your social media feeds regardless of what you searched for. That wasn't random. That was spiritual interference broadcasting on a frequency designed to keep you struggling. They were using wax and candles and dark intentions against you. They were creating disturbances around you. Someone was trying to block your heart from opening, trying to keep you from trusting love when it showed up, trying to make sure you stayed isolated and easier to control. You sensed something off but couldn't name it. People became hostile toward you for no identifiable reason. Relationships that seemed promising imploded without explanation. Opportunities vanished right when you reached for them. This was the invisible war being waged against you. And the beautiful thing is, you were winning without even knowing you were fighting, because here's what they didn't account for. Every time they sent chaos your way, you developed better discernment. Every time they created an obstacle, you built stronger resilience. Every time they tried to knock you down, you learned how to get back up faster. You were being forged in fire they started, trained by opposition they created, strengthened by resistance they generated. But here's where they made their fatal mistake. They underestimated you. They calculated that you weren't intelligent enough to figure it out. They bet everything on you staying asleep while they robbed you blind. They looked at you and labeled you as manageable, predictable, someone who would follow a script they wrote, and you proved them catastrophically wrong. Not because you're the strongest person in your family, not because you're the most intelligent by conventional measurements, but because you possess something they can never develop, the ability to adapt, to change, to evolve under pressure instead of breaking under it. See, strength that comes from avoiding challenges is brittle. Intelligence that never faces real tests is theoretical. But what you developed was something else entirely: anti-fragility. The capacity to actually benefit from disorder and stress. Every attack became an unsolicited training session you completed anyway. Every obstacle became an opportunity to develop new capabilities. Every chaotic situation forced you to level up in ways comfortable people never do. You were getting stronger, and the people attacking you couldn't see it happening. They were so focused on sending attacks that they completely missed the transformation those attacks were causing. They thought they were breaking you down when they were actually building you up. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Your frequency started rising. The wounds they were using as entry points started healing. The vibration of their attacks couldn't match your energy anymore. You were literally outgrowing their ability to touch you, evolving past their capacity to harm you, and this terrified them on a level words couldn't articulate, because their entire identity was wrapped up in being the powerful ones, the ones in control, the ones who could manipulate outcomes and people. And you were becoming someone beyond their manipulation, someone operating on a frequency they couldn't access. So they escalated, they pushed harder, they attempted more aggressive tactics, and every escalation just accelerated your growth. Then something shifted that changed everything. A person they'd been blocking from you started breaking through their barriers. Someone whose soul recognized yours, someone they'd kept confused and bound, started waking up. Now let me show you what the real fight was about at that gathering. Money, significant money, real estate that should have been distributed differently, inheritance that got redirected when you were too young to notice or too trusting to question, legal documents got changed, wills got altered, assets got moved around while certain family members were kept deliberately uninformed. Every angle seemed covered, the network seemed too tight to crack, the intelligence seemed too sharp to get caught, but something crucial got forgotten. Theft leaves traces, especially when you're stealing from someone who has divine protection operating invisibly. Every forged signature created evidence. Every redirected asset generated documentation. Every lie told to cover the first lie created more witnesses than anyone realized. People saw things. People remembered conversations. People kept receipts without knowing those receipts would matter. The inheritance should have been split differently. You should have received resources that would have changed your entire trajectory. Instead, those resources got funneled to people who convinced themselves you didn't deserve it, who convinced themselves you wouldn't know what to do with it, who convinced themselves everyone was better off with you excluded. Lies got told to justify theft. That's what it really was, theft. Dressed up in family politics and complicated justifications, but theft nonetheless. And for a while, success seemed to happen. For a while, it looked like you'd been successfully written out of family prosperity. For a while, you struggled with resources that should have been yours while comfort got enjoyed on what got stolen. But the universe keeps perfect books. Every injustice gets recorded, every theft gets noted, every wrong gets marked for correction, and the correction is always more complete than the original crime. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today, join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks, and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Then someone on the inside started feeling guilty, or maybe scared, or maybe consequences were visible on the horizon and self-preservation kicked in. Either way, someone started talking, not to the family first, to authorities, to people who could actually do something about fraud and theft and forgery. Deals got cut, information got traded for immunity, everyone else got thrown under the bus to save one's skin, and that younger manipulator who thought they were untouchable, they panicked first, they started singing. They gave up names, they shared details, they tried to position themselves as less guilty than everyone else through cooperation. But here's what didn't get known until too late. The person who was supposed to be protected by deflecting blame, that person had already made a separate deal. had already given separate testimony, had already thrown the younger one directly under the bus, being avoided. No loyalty existed in this network. There never is when people operate from fear and greed, just people using each other, temporary alliances based on mutual benefit that dissolve the moment consequences appear. And when pressure came, everyone turned on each other like the opportunists underneath the family masks. The older family member who taught manipulation tactics to the younger one, already negotiating a separate deal, already minimizing involvement, already painting a picture of someone who tried to stop it, who warned against it, who's actually the victim of recklessness, the cousin who helped move money around, already hired a lawyer, already constructing a defense that makes everyone else look like masterminds, while claiming ignorance about what was really happening. The relative who forged signatures, already providing documents to investigators, already explaining how pressure was applied, already claiming the desire to come forward existed, but fear prevented it. It's a beautiful disaster, a conspiracy collapsing under its own weight, a network of manipulators discovering that nobody has anyone's back when consequences arrive. Each person trying to save themselves by sacrificing everyone else. And through all this betrayal and backstabbing and desperate maneuvering, your name keeps appearing in testimony, not as someone involved, but as the target, as the victim, as the person everyone agreed to exclude and rob and manipulate. Every statement given for self-protection confirms what happened to you. Every detail revealed to minimize guilt exposes more of the conspiracy against you. Every person blamed validates that you were deliberately targeted. Your case is being built by the very people who created the crime. There's someone, a person whose energy matches yours, someone whose soul recognizes yours across lifetimes and dimensions, someone who was supposed to walk into your life at a specific time, but the timing kept getting disrupted. This wasn't accident. This was deliberate sabotage orchestrated by people who understood exactly what they were preventing. They had been working for a long time to keep this person away from you. They understood something crucial that most people miss. When you connect with someone who truly matches your frequency, when two souls align who are meant to align, you create combined power that's nearly impossible to interfere with, so they had to prevent that connection from ever forming. They did spiritual work. They sent confusion. They created situations that kept this person distracted and redirected. Every time this person's thoughts turned toward reaching out to you, something would interrupt: a phone call, a crisis, a sudden obligation. A new relationship that seemed promising, but was actually just another distraction. They were orchestrating everything. They were moving pieces. They were creating interference. Every time the natural pull between you and this person started to build, they would disrupt it. They planted doubt in this person's mind. They raised questions about whether the pull felt toward you was real or just imagination. They manufactured scenarios that made reaching out seem awkward or inappropriate or poorly timed. They fabricated reasons for why connection with you would be complicated or problematic, and for a while it worked. The distance stayed maintained, the confusion remained, the redirection into situations and relationships that looked right on the surface but felt wrong underneath kept happening. What was missing couldn't be named, but the absence of something was felt constantly. But you can't block a soul connection forever. Delay is possible, interference with timing is possible, obstacles and confusion and misdirection are all possible. But you cannot kill what the divine has written into the fabric of reality. And recently something started cracking. The bindings they had placed began weakening. The confusion started clearing like fog burning off in sunlight. Questions started forming in this person's mind. Why was attraction felt toward you despite never having real conversation? Why did your name keep appearing in awareness? Why did something feel missing even when life looked full from the outside? Why did every distraction feel hollow? Why did every redirect feel wrong? This person started waking up to the manipulation. Recognition of the interference began. Patterns that had been missed before became visible. They started noticing how every movement toward you brought obstacles, how every thought about you brought distractions, how every time the pull got stronger, something would redirect their attention, and they began pushing back against it. They started ignoring the distractions, they started questioning the obstacles, they started recognizing the manipulation for what it was. They began testing the resistance, leaning into it instead of backing away. And the more they pushed back, the weaker the manipulative hold became. They could feel the control slipping. They could see this person breaking free from influences that had kept them bound and confused, and hard panic set in for them. Because this connection represented the end of their power over you. If you connected with someone who actually saw you clearly, who matched your frequency, who amplified your strength instead of trying to diminish it, you'd become completely beyond their reach. Your combined energy would create protection they couldn't penetrate. Your alignment would give you clarity they couldn't confuse. Your partnership would provide support they couldn't undermine. Together you would be unstoppable, so they had to stop it. They had to prevent this connection at any cost, and that desperation led them to make a move so reckless, so impulsive, so poorly thought out, that it ended up exposing their entire operation. They did something at that family gathering that they thought would cement their control, something they believed would redirect this person permanently away from you, something they felt certain would keep you separated forever and make the separation look destined. Instead, it triggered the explosion that brought everything into the light. Now we arrive at the moment everything detonated, that family gathering where masks came off and truth came out and nobody could control the narrative anymore. Someone got drunk, or maybe just tired of holding secrets. Either way, words started spilling that couldn't be taken back. Accusations flew across that room like grenades. Your name dropped into the chaos, and suddenly everyone was arguing about money, about theft, about who knew what and when. The younger manipulator sat there with that smug expression always worn, that look that says let it burn, playing it cool, playing it untouchable. But underneath that mask, calculation was happening, trying to figure out how much everyone knew, trying to gauge who could still be controlled. And then someone said the one thing preparation hadn't covered. Someone mentioned legal documents, the altered will, the redirected inheritance, the forged signatures that several people had started questioning. That's when the room truly erupted. Family members who'd been kept in the dark started demanding answers. People who'd suspected something for years finally had confirmation. Lies started unraveling strand by strand. People who thought every angle was covered realized more evidence existed than anyone knew. Older family members started arguing with younger ones. Siblings turned on each other. Accusations of theft and fraud and conspiracy flew like weapons. And through it all, your name kept coming up. Because the fighting was about what should have been yours, about what got stolen from you, about what got redirected into other pockets while you struggled. Someone demanded to see bank statements. Another person pulled out their phone showing text messages that contradicted what had been told. A third family member produced documents that had been quietly gathered, waiting for the right moment to reveal them. Attempts to regain control of the narrative happened. Deflection got tried. Minimization got attempted, making it seem like a misunderstanding or a simple mistake got pushed. But too many people were talking at once. Too many voices were contradicting the official version of events. Too many pieces of evidence were surfacing. And then someone brought up you specifically, how you'd been excluded from decisions, how you'd been kept uninformed about family business, how opportunities and resources that should have included you somehow never reached you, how every time you were supposed to receive something, it got redirected at the last minute. That's when the room split into factions. Some family members had known what was happening and said nothing. Others had suspected but didn't want to cause problems. A few had been actively helping the conspiracy, and several had been completely in the dark and were now furious about being deceived. One last attempt to control the situation happened, an attempt to turn it around on you, an attempt to make you seem like the problem, a suggestion that you were ungrateful or difficult or somehow deserving of exclusion. And that's when someone who'd been quiet the whole time finally spoke up, someone who'd been watching, someone who'd been gathering their own information, someone who'd been waiting for exactly this moment to reveal what was known. The timeline got laid out, the pattern got revealed, the systematic way you'd been targeted and excluded and robbed got presented so clearly, so undeniably, that even the people who wanted to defend the manipulator couldn't find words. The room went silent, that heavy silence where everyone knows something has fundamentally shifted and there's no going back. You weren't even there trying to defend yourself. You didn't have to fight for your truth. You didn't have to prove anything. The truth defended itself. The evidence spoke for itself. The divine orchestrated the exposure without you having to lift a finger, and while everyone was tearing each other apart, you were somewhere else entirely, peaceful, centered, finally free from the energetic weight that had been placed on you for years. Because here's what never got understood. Power over you was always an illusion, and the moment you stopped believing in that illusion, it collapsed. You didn't need to be in that room. You didn't need to defend yourself. You didn't need to fight for your position, or prove your worth, or demand what was yours. The universe did it for you. Truth revealed itself exactly when it needed to. Justice arrived precisely on time. You healed yourself. That's it. That's the weapon you used. You refused to stay broken. You worked on yourself. You raised your frequency. You adapted to every challenge thrown at you and came out stronger each time. You didn't plot revenge. You didn't create schemes. You didn't spend energy trying to expose anyone or take anyone down. You just lived your life. You just kept growing. You just kept becoming more of who you were always meant to be, and that alone dismantled the entire operation. See, power over you was based on one foundational lie, the lie that you were weak, the lie that you needed certain people, the lie that you couldn't survive without approval, acceptance, validation from sources that were poisoned. The whole conspiracy got built on the assumption that you would stay small and manageable and easy to control, but you outgrew that lie. You evolved past it. You became someone who didn't need what was being withheld. You became someone who thrived despite interference. You became someone whose frequency was too high for attacks to stick to anymore. And when you reached that point, when you stepped fully into your power, the illusion of control shattered, because if you can't be kept down, what's the point of all the scheming? If you're going to rise anyway, what got achieved except self-exposure? Think about what you actually did. You took every obstacle they created and used it as a stepping stone. Every time they sent chaos, you developed better discernment about who and what deserved your energy. Every time they created a setback, you learned a new skill you wouldn't have developed otherwise. When they blocked opportunities, you created your own. When they spread lies, you let your actions speak louder than words. When they attempted to isolate you, you built connections with people who actually valued you. You didn't react the way anyone expected. You didn't fall apart. You didn't become bitter or vengeful. You didn't waste your power trying to convince people who were determined to misunderstand you. Instead, you focused that power on yourself, on your growth, on your healing, on becoming so solid in who you are that opinions became irrelevant. Approval became unnecessary. Validation became meaningless, and that's what terrified people most. Not that you would fight them, but that you would outgrow them entirely, that you would reach a point where they simply didn't matter to you anymore. Because when someone operates from manipulation and control, you're caring about what they think is essential. You're wanting their approval is necessary. You're being affected by their games is required. The moment you stop caring, their power evaporates. You stopped caring, not in a bitter way, not in a hurt way, but in a free way. You realize that people who need to diminish you to feel powerful are operating from such deep weakness that their opinions are meaningless. Your transformation forced revelation. Your growth pulled the mask off their operation. Your refusal to stay broken made panic happen and mistakes get made. You won this war without throwing a single punch. You dismantled an empire just by becoming who you were meant to be. That's real power, not fighting in the mud with people operating from weakness, but rising so high manipulation can't reach you anymore, glowing so bright that shadows have nowhere to hide. And here's what probably bothers them most. You're not even angry about what happened. You're not consumed with thoughts of revenge. You're not wasting your energy hating anyone, because you understand something manipulation never will. They did you a favor. Every attack made you stronger. Every obstacle made you wiser. Every betrayal taught you who deserves your trust. They handed you the exact lessons you needed to become unshakable. You're standing in a completely different reality now because of what you went through. A reality where you know your worth isn't determined by who recognizes it, where you know your value isn't diminished by who fails to see it, where you know your power isn't dependent on who validates it. That's freedom manipulation will never experience. That's power control will never possess. That's peace darkness will never know. The legal system is moving now, not slowly, not with the usual delays and bureaucracy, fast, because when multiple people are all giving testimony that confirms the same conspiracy, when evidence is piling up from multiple sources, when documentation is clear and undeniable, things accelerate. Fraud charges are being prepared. Theft, forgery, conspiracy. These aren't minor offenses. These carry serious consequences, and people who thought untouchability was guaranteed are realizing vulnerability is very real. The younger manipulator is facing consequences. Preparation never covered. Spiritual knowledge was supposed to make them untouchable. Manipulation skills were supposed to get them out of anything. Talking was supposed to work like it always had. But you can't manipulate documentation. You can't charm away forged signatures. You can't talk yourself out of bank records and legal documents and testimony from multiple witnesses who all confirm the same story. Serious consequences are on the table, and the mask is finally coming off. The smug expression is cracking. The attitude of not caring is revealing itself as the defensive posture it always was. Because caring is happening very much, it's just becoming clear that no moves are left. The older woman who taught manipulation is throwing the younger one under the bus completely. Claims of trying to stop it are being made. Claims of warnings given are being stated. Claims of being the victim of manipulation are being constructed. It's almost funny if it wasn't so predictable. And the family members who helped hide the money? Everyone is trying to make their own deals. Everyone is trying to be the first one to cooperate. Everyone is trying to minimize their own involvement while maximizing everyone else's guilt. It's exactly what happens when people operating from fear and greed face real consequences. Scattering happens like roaches when the light comes on. No loyalty exists. No solidarity appears. Just desperate self-preservation dominates everything. And through it all, your name keeps appearing in testimony, not as someone who sought revenge, not as someone who went after anyone, but as someone who got conspired against, someone who got stolen from, someone who got deliberately harmed. Every word spoken to save someone's skin just builds the case for what you're owed, that inheritance that got redirected. It's coming back to you with interest. With penalties, others have to pay. With legal fees, others have to cover. You're not just getting what you were originally owed. You're getting compensation for what you went through. That real estate that got stolen, the legal system is unwinding those transactions, investigating those transfers, reversing what shouldn't have been moved. Property that should have been yours is being returned. And the people who thought success was permanent are having to give it all back. The money that got pocketed while you struggled, being recalculated, being traced, being recovered with additional damages because what happened wasn't just taking what wasn't theirs. What happened was deliberately keeping you from what was yours. That's a different level of wrong, and it comes with a different level of consequences. But it's not just about money and property, it's about something bigger. That person whose energy matches yours, who got kept away for so long, is coming through now. Not confused, not bound, not manipulated, clear, focused, moving toward you with intention and certainty. This connection is about to shift your entire reality. Because when two people who are meant to be together finally connect without interference, without manipulation, clouding perception, without obstacles blocking the path, the combined frequency created is unstoppable. You're about to experience partnership on a level you've never known. Support that doesn't come with conditions, love that doesn't require you to be less than you are, connection that amplifies your power instead of trying to diminish it. And the manipulators get to watch it happen, get to see everything attempted to prevent coming true anyway, get to witness you receiving everything that got blocked, get to realize the schemes didn't just fail. The schemes backfired so spectacularly that you ended up better off than if interference had never happened at all. Because here's what the divine does. When people try to curse you, the divine converts it into a lesson that makes you stronger. When people try to block your blessings, the divine builds up such pressure behind that door that when it finally opens, you receive more than you would have originally. Think about it. If attacks had never happened, you might not have developed the discernment you have now. If breaking attempts had never been made, you might not have discovered how unbreakable you actually are. If schemes had never been plotted against you, you might not have learned to recognize manipulation when you see it. A masterclass in spiritual warfare got handed to you, and tuition wasn't even charged. How to recognize fake people, fake love, fake support got taught. Exactly what you don't want in your life got shown. Precisely who you should never waste your energy on got demonstrated. And now you're about to receive everything they attempted to take, plus interest, plus compensation, plus the wisdom you gained by surviving their attacks. You're not just winning, you're winning with upgrades they can't comprehend. The family members who stood by and said nothing while robbery happened, watching you rise and realizing the wrong side got bet on. The ones who actively helped the conspiracy, facing consequences that will follow them long after the legal system is done. And that gathering where everything exploded, that was just the beginning, because that's when truth started coming out. But truth has momentum. Once it starts moving, it doesn't stop until everything hidden has been revealed. More is going to come out about what they did. More people are going to come forward with information. More evidence is going to surface. The full scope of their conspiracy is still being uncovered, and each new revelation makes the case stronger for what you're owed. That gathering was supposed to be the worst of it according to their plan. They thought if they could just survive that night, they could recover. They had no idea that was just the crack that would eventually split the whole foundation. Everything they attempted to take from you is coming back multiplied. Everything they blocked is arriving with interest. Everything they prevented is manifesting bigger than it would have been, because when you try to interfere with someone's divine destiny, stopping it doesn't happen. Delaying it happens, and when it finally arrives, it comes with the accumulated force of everything that was held back. You're not the same person who got targeted years ago. You're not the one who got thought of as controllable. You evolved, you adapted, you transformed every attack into a training session that made you stronger, and now you're standing in a completely different reality than the one someone tried to trap you in. The chains that got wrapped around you are broken. The blocks that got placed on your heart are removed. The interference that got run on your blessings is dismantled. The conspiracy that got built is exposed. The money that got stolen is being returned. The property that got taken is being reclaimed. The connection that got prevented is happening anyway. And you're free. Completely free from manipulation. Free from control. Free from the energetic weight that got placed on you. Free to receive everything that's been trying to reach you. Free to connect with who you're meant to connect with. Free to step into the abundant, blessed, powerful life that was always your destiny. This is what happens when betting against someone the divine is protecting occurs. This is what happens when trying to curse someone who's blessed gets attempted. This is what happens when attacking someone who has angels watching over them and ancestors clearing their path gets tried. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just recover, you multiply. You don't just get back what was taken, you receive it back with compound interest. That family gathering fight was never about you defending yourself. It was about the divine defending you. It was about justice arriving exactly on time. It was about truth exposing itself without you having to force it. You're not standing in wreckage, you're standing in a clearing. All the dead weight is gone, all the toxic connections are severed, all the people who were draining you are removed, and now there's space, beautiful, clean, protected space for everything real to enter. Your true family, your true love, your true abundance, your true purpose, everything authentic, everything aligned, everything that matches the frequency you worked so hard to achieve. The difference between who you were when attacks started and who you are now is staggering. Forging in fire happened, refining in pressure occurred, transformation through resistance took place, and the person standing here now is someone manipulation can't touch, someone control can't manipulate, someone interference can't stop. Walk into this new reality like you own it. Because you do, you earned every bit of it, not by fighting dirty, not by playing games, but by refusing to be broken, by adapting to every challenge, by evolving past every limitation they attempted to place on you. The fight at that family gathering was the death of their power over you, the birth of your complete freedom, the end of their story, the beginning of yours. Welcome home, chosen one. Welcome to the life they tried to prevent. Welcome to the blessings they couldn't block. Welcome to the victory you achieved by simply becoming who you were always meant to be. And as you step into this new chapter, remember what brought you here. Not revenge, not schemes, not manipulation, but healing, growth, evolution, the choice to become better instead of bitter, the decision to rise instead of retaliate, the commitment to your own transformation regardless of what was happening in the shadows. That's the power that changed everything. That's the strength that broke every hold. That's the frequency that attracted your blessings and repelled every curse. You are the catalyst. You are the force. You are the one who shifted the entire dynamic just by refusing to stay small. Welcome to the rest of your life, chosen one. It's going to be better than anything they attempted to take